Dave, a win on Tuesday night, and the biggest disappointment you've spoke about it so many times is fans not being in. But when you look at social media, there seem to be, as there has been all season, but a real buzz from Tuesday night's win that we showed that, all these fantastic home results that we've had, but we've grinding out them 1-0 results as well. And there seems to be now a real atmosphere online, if you like, as we push towards the end of the season. Has that kind of been the same in the dressing room and throughout training this week?
You'll see more online than what we do, but I'm sure the players have looked at what comments there are, because it's always great looking at comments when you've won and when you're in a good position, and probably stay away from it when you've not maybe won. No, I've said that. That's not. I sound like a broken record, repeat myself in terms of our training schedule has been not really a training schedule. So from Tuesday night, lads are getting home 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. Wednesday off, recover as best as possible. For the lads who played yesterday, we saw them on the grass for 10 minutes, and then it was again more around recovery. And then we'll see them this morning for an hour, a short session in horrible conditions out there, windy and rainy, when it looked quite nice this morning. And we'll put a plan in place to go to Stockport tomorrow and win. And that's the way it's been for the last sort of 6 or 7 weeks, really. So although you're in strange circumstances in terms of the COVID protocols and things like that, we're in the back of unique circumstances with the amount of Tuesday night games we've had, and the training schedule, like I say, has been had to be adapted because of that.
When I asked you on Tuesday night after that win, what is the recipe for the success at the moment? And you said it as simple as just a bunch of good lads who work really, really hard. But where has that throughout the season come from in terms of how hard the lads work, and our fitness levels have been fantastic throughout as well?
Yeah, that comes from everyone takes some credit for that. From the start of pre-season, when we come back, when we came in last year, we made it clear to the players that were here how we wanted to go about things, and how I suppose we've had success previously, and the way we think. Now every manager is different in terms of how they want to go about it, but that's something that we wanted to look at. It then comes into a plan being put in place through pre-season, and it was 2 and 3 plans, because it was a false start on one occasion, and it was a break in between, and setting lads work to do when it was first locked down away from the club. But like I say, the condition they're in is fantastic. Ultimately, it all comes down to the players buying into their belief in that we're telling them something that's right and the way to go about it. So regardless of them being here, you look at if they have aspirations to play higher, the game is all about intensity, and the intensity you can work at and how long you can work that intensity for. And we've been unbelievable. Like I say, the potentially could have been an excuse for players over the past 7 weeks to have 7 away games all on a Tuesday night, and back them up with some away games and home games on a Saturday, but they haven't. They've constantly been able to reproduce, and that's, like I say, down to the work that everyone's put in between the start of the season and now, but also after the games, down to players doing the right things in terms of the sleep, in terms of their refueling, eating, drinking, doing things right, and making sure they're in the best place to be able to go again. It's always easier again as well when you're on a decent run and winning games. Those trips that we've had on a Tuesday are longer trips, and you feel tired and you feel more sore if you haven't won or you haven't got a draw. So to be able to, like I say, to be able to do that has been is huge testament to the work that's been done with them, but ultimately the players buying into it and being able to reproduce game on game.
As you said, the lads have been fantastic, and as a group worked really well together. When you look at some of them individually, you look at Gary Liddell, for instance, who I wanted to speak about. Ever since he's come back in, has been a real mainstay in that back three, if you like. And his record stand since he's come back in, played 14 and lost none. How important has he been? And some fans have compared him to Benjamin Button in terms of the way, despite his age, he probably looks just as fit as the 20-year-old lads in the squad.
Yeah, I think when you get towards the back end of your career, as is always the case, you tend to do things properly. You can't get away with things when you're in your 30s that you could be when you're in your 20 or low 20s. That's for certain. So you have to again, you have to do things right. From a player's perspective, when you get towards the back end of your career, what you want to do is play for as long as you can at the highest level you can. In order to do that, again, we speak about controlling variables. As an experienced player, you've got to control the variables, and again, what they do, him and I'll include Fed in that as well, is they set the right example for the younger players that of what you should do. It's easy to look back on your career at the end and go, I wish I'd done that when I was 21. If I'd done that when I was 21, I'd be well ahead of the game and I'd have played. Well, you've got, like say, more than two, but them two at the moment are obviously in the team. The without it sounding the wrong way, they're the oldest ones, the opposite side of 30, but the mainstays within what we want to do, and experience is massively important. That experience not only becomes important, they need to fall in to what we want to do as a team, as a group. Are they able to deal with the demands of what we want from them? Absolutely are, and that's why both of them are an important player to us. Lid's obviously it's been out for a long time, and him coming back in has been a new signing for us, and thankfully results of he's come back into the team when we're on a good result, and results have gone in our way.
Looking towards this weekend, Stockport away, a team that's in and around us. When you look back at the reverse fixtures, certainly when our favourite 2 red cards for them, 4 goals for us. What do you expect from this Saturday in terms of comparing to the reverse fixture? And obviously a lot has changed for them since that game. So what do you expect from them as a team?
We expect a really tough game. They've got a squad full of quality, full of quality from this level, and they've obviously tried to invest from above and take some from below to try and fill out that squad. They've obviously had a change in management and potentially a change in philosophy in terms of how they want to go about things. But from our perspective, there's not a great deal different. You don't expect or go into games expecting red cards. Love it to happen, but again, we've got to go into it thinking the game's going to be 11v11 for 90 minutes. It's going to be 2 teams that are up and around each other in the playoff positions. They'll be looking at it and going that we've got we're 6 points ahead of them, but they've got 2 games in hand. If they can beat us, then they potentially can go above us. We're looking at it the opposite and going, well, if we beat them, then all of a sudden the game's in hand. They can't go where we are, and that's what we'll be trying to do. We're going to treat it as a big game, and as a big game that might come about towards the back end of the season as well, and almost as a playoff fixture. So that's the way we're going to go about it. We're going there to stamp what we do on the game, and we're going there to win. And I've said previously, again, if we can't win, then make sure we don't lose. The difference between not losing, I suppose, tomorrow will be if it was a playoff game, it would be extended to find a winner. If not, both teams go away with a point. But like I said, we're going there to be positive.
You mentioned them games in hand, obviously for other teams in Stockport, obviously not the only team with the games in hand. There's plenty around us. And obviously them teams are going to see that as a great opportunity to jump above us and really push on. But where do you stand in terms of what you would rather? I'm assuming for you, you're much happier sitting where we are with the points already on the table and the games already played.
I'd rather sit in Sutton's position, if I'm honest, with points on the table and games in hand. But in terms of where we're, that's what I mean. It's you can't judge the table. You normally get to this point and things have equaled out now. So you'll normally have within the league season a couple of teams that maybe pitch hasn't been up to it and they've had some bad winters and had some games called off, or someone who's had a decent FA Cup and FA Trophy run and have got games in hand. But in the main, everyone's played about the same amount of games. It's completely different this year. We've had our run over the past 7 weeks where we've played every Saturday, Tuesday. Some teams are going to have their run between now and the end of the season. to do that. So that's why I suppose what you've got to look at is just where we are, and we've got to make predictions as a coaching group as to what we think we need first and foremost to be in the playoffs, what we think we might need to finish in the second or third, if you like, to give yourself one home game to get to a final, and what we think it might be to win the league. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. But I suppose what we've done is we've put them potentially on the high side a little bit, to make sure that those goals are achievable. And if we do that, and again things pan out in the way we want, then great. If they don't, then make sure we give ourselves a shot towards the back end. And I'm still of the mindset, again, if I need to win, or we need to win 3 games at the back end of the year to get promoted, I'll take that. You're not going to have to win 1, I don't think. You're potentially going to have to win 2 anyway. So it's always going to be an ask. And these are games that have everything on them. And they can be intense, they can be nervy affairs, but adrenaline wise, they're unbelievable games to be involved in, and I wouldn't change it.
Just finally, ahead of this weekend, can you give us an overall squad update? I know you mentioned, the lads have been doing ever so well, even with just the tightness of all the traveling that we're doing, but what's your overall squad update and injury list at the moment?
No, we're in a good place. Like I say, nothing, no adverse reactions from the game on Tuesday. So we travelled there with a squad of 20, a really competitive squad of 20, and had to leave 4 out. It'll be no different this weekend. Again, the only one who's continues to be out is young Joe. Apart from that, like I said, we're in a good place, and undoubtedly, regardless of the fact we're going to Stockport away, and you're not going to have 6,000-7,000 there, and it would be a right game and a really great atmosphere to play in. Every single player want to play in the game, and want to play in the game because further down the line, they know there's potential for us to have some really big games ahead of us, which is a great position to be in. We have to obviously manage the others that will be disappointed who aren't in the squad, but that's part and parcel of being a successful group. Everyone will have done their bit between the start of the season and now, and hopefully will do their bit between now and the end of the season. So we're in good shape. Like I say, we have really good belief. We'll go in there to be positive and hopefully win.